Good morning, guys, and I'm going to start this video with the most important message. Stay hydrated so that you are urinating at least 100 times a day. Just kidding. 10 times a day is good. Just make sure that you're pissing clear so you won't be living in fear. Okay, so as you know, I've changed the date of my Everest. I've actually changed it again since the last video. You're like, Paul, what the fuck, dude? You never make up your mind. Well, I had to change the date again because of the logistics. I can only stay at my mate Paul's house from the Monday. So the date of the Everest is now on the 26th of May. So I'm not trying to cancel the event. You have to adapt, and sometimes life throws you a lemon and you've got to make lemonade with it. So that's what I'm doing here. So what is my plan now for the Everest training? How am I going to change it? So I have changed it a little bit. I'm going to do 4 weeks of hard training, and then obviously the last week, just a nice recovery week, just give your body a chance to adapt to all the hard training that you've done for the last 4 weeks. And then on the Sunday is going to be the Everest Challenge. So I'll show you guys that program shortly. And as for the eating, I've changed my strategy to a more sustainable one. I'm just eating high carb, low fat, and I have lost weight like that in the past, but I have to be really strict with it. In other words, I can't have any overt fats. As soon as I have even some overt fats, I struggle to lose the weight. So I'm sticking, my staple foods are usually some kind of porridge for breakfast. And if there's good fruit like dates available, I'll have dates for breakfast because they're the only fruit that really gives me enough calories. But the two porridges that I like to eat here in South Africa are cornmeal. So it's polenta that you buy at the shop, and also mabele. Mabele is the local term that they use for sorghum meal. So they make porridge out of sorghum meal, and that's what I like to have for breakfast in terms of porridge. Now what I do to that is I usually add a liberal amount of sugar, 100 grams of sugar or so, and some soy milk. And you might be thinking that soy milk has some fat, but when you're only having 100 milliliters of soy milk, it's really not much fat at all. So on average, I'd say I get 10 to 15 grams of fat a day. So very low fat diet, very low in anabolic nutrients. So two anabolic nutrients are protein and fat. And I'd say the protein is also very low at between 70 and 100 grams a day. So keeping those two nutrients very low, giving the carbohydrates high. So with carbohydrates, I'd say on an average day, at least 1,000 grams of carbohydrates. So that is pretty much the amount that riders eat when they're doing grand tours. But here I am just training like 2 hours a day at the moment. But I just eat according to my hunger. So when I feel satiated, I stop. Usually 3 meals a day. And very simple plan, but it's effective. It works. So here is my updated training plan for the Everesting World Record attempt. And you can see it's still pretty much the same structure. The only thing that I've really changed is doing the intensity days back to back. So on the Wednesdays, I have the Herbert Baker hill repeats, and these take about 90 seconds to complete for each hill repeat at max effort. And each week you can see it gets progressively more. Here it's 8, and then the following week 10, and then 12. And it's the same for the Klapperkop hill repeats. Now these are longer, these take 8 minutes to complete. So we're working more on VO2 max and threshold here. So this is anaerobic, the Herbert Baker ones, and VO2 max and threshold. And you can see here the training load also increases each week with these Klapperkop hill reps. Now Klapperkop is about a 10-minute climb here in my area, and it's not such a steep gradient, but at least you're still climbing, so it's a good hill for these longer efforts. And the recovery between each effort is around 8 to 10 minutes, so it's good recovery. So for each effort you can give a max effort or close to your max wattage. So Klapperkop goes 5, then 6, and then 7, and 7 times 8 minutes is 56 minutes at intensity. And this is almost about 20 minutes at high intensity anaerobic for the biggest week. Now the first week is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's say it's going to be about 5 hours. So it's about 15 hours for the first week, and then for the last week it's 20 hours. So it just picks up gradually, and then the last week is just like full gas in terms of intensity and the amount of training time. Now you can see here I've got the specific training for the half Everest. So I start with 280 watts normalized, and I just want to say thanks to my woman for borrowing me her Stages power meter. That being said, I have also realized that my left leg is weaker than my right leg. I'd say about 5%. Now, if you take 400 watts over 8 minutes, which is what I can usually do with a left and right leg power meter, take 400 watts and you subtract 5% from that, you get 20, or 5% of that is 20 watts. So if you multiply that by 2, that's up to 40 watts that you can lose. And I've seen that I can do about 360 watts for 8 minutes with the Stages. So that is quite a significant difference. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I still just give the best that I can, and then I focus on strengthening my left leg. So hopefully that wattage will go up over the weeks. So here you can see half Everest, 280 watts normalized power, and then that increases to 290 the next week, 300 the following week, and 310 watts in the final week. I'm guessing that for the Everest attempt, it's going to be between 280 and 290 watts normalized power for the 8 to 9 hours that it's going to take. And yeah, so that is why I'm doing it at a higher wattage on the actual half Everest, so that I'll be fine for a lower wattage for a longer amount of time. So as you can see, it's a very simple training program, but it works, and it gives you the endurance that you need, gives you the threshold power that you need, and you can just go the whole day at a really high tempo.